So, Raf, I heard that our organization has put in a proposal for the city charter amendments. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, absolutely, Jocelyn. We also submitted a proposal for the city and county charter. For those just tuning into our civics is sexy conversations again, the Honolulu City County Charter amendments is basically like amending the constitution of the city and county of Honolulu. So it puts into the code of law specific things on how we are required to essentially go about our business within this county.
I see. Awesome. And so, what is the proposal we specifically put in about?
Yeah, we really wanted to focus on the work that we do, which started with plastic pollution and has evolved into more solutions based pieces. So we added a zero waste 2040 plan. And it's an ambitious goal to try and get our society here on the island of Oahu, the county of Honolulu, to move closer to a zero waste circular economy by 2040.
What does zero waste in this context mean?
Very good question. It is an ambitious kind of moonshot goal where we're transitioning away from a linear society where we consume something, throw it away, and that's the end of it. We expect that we've done our work by putting it in the right garbage bin or recycling bin into something that thinks about circularity, that thinks about the depth of what it takes to create things, to use the resources, to consume them in a much more responsible way where everything is either truly recycled for if that is actually possible or repurposed. So like we talk about food waste turning into compost. Like that's an example of zero waste. It's not being sent to an incinerator or a landfill. It's actually being turned into something that helps us grow food. And that can continue on for in the repurposing concept of like all this cardboard that gets shipped to Hawaii. How do we turn it into packaging to give it another life or add it into that compost mix to actually create the carbon source in there? So you can go on and on. A reusable container program could be part of it where instead of all the single-use takeout containers that we're trying to keep finding solutions for a throwaway solution, what if we honestly just went back in time a little bit to like the milkman model where we had a glass jar and we refilled it every time? We can do that with takeout containers too. It just takes a little bit of a lifestyle shift.
Yeah, I love how creative these ideas are and how they're both innovative, but also kind of going back to how things were at the same time, drawing from the past and our future ideas. Awesome. I wanted to also mention that we're calling for testimony right now, right?
Yes, we are. So we're hoping to get this in before the end of the year. Ideally, that we get it in before December 20th, before the holidays really kick in, because there is going to be a hearing for this charter amendment in the early parts of January. And we want to make sure that the people who are processing these proposals see the support that there is. So you can head to the the city council charter amendment page and hit that submit testimony button. And Jocelyn, I think that you also put together a page to help people with that.
Yes, yeah. So we wrote up a little testimony template so that it's super easy for you guys to do. All you have to do is go to that submission page. Even in our template, we have a link to that too in case you can't find it. And you can just copy paste that template that we gave you, add any personalization, but trying to make it as easy for you folks to get involved as possible.
And I want to add something about zero waste. We talked about some of the solutions that we could put into that proposal to actually codify into the city and county charter. It also includes things that are beyond just our individual level choices like reusable containers and also things like extended producer responsibility, which is a big word or a big set of words. But what it really means is that as consumers, we oftentimes are left without the best choices in our if you go to the supermarket, 95% of the things there are wrapped in plastic. So what extended producer responsibility does is it acknowledges that plastic pollution has become this really bad problem, that plastic itself is pretty toxic to us, and it puts the burden back on the people producing it. So that could be the Pepsis, the Cokes, the Nestle's, they're some of the big ones, but even above that, the Dow Chemicals, the DuPonts, even the oil companies who are at the very top of responsible for it. And it either charges them a fee, a disposal fee that says you're creating these things that really don't have a good end of life. So you need to pay for that, and that brings revenue back into the city and county to try and come up with the more innovative things that we can incorporate into our society to actually get closer to zero waste and reuse.
Yeah, I really appreciate you bringing that up because I think a lot of what we try to talk about at SCH is both about how we can change our lifestyles in small ways to try to lessen our amount of plastic pollution in the environment, but also how we're perfectly imperfect. It's not our fault that these stores that have the foods that we need to purchase and things like that are always wrapped in plastic. So definitely need to be working on both sides of this issue. And we were just doing our James Campbell cleanup too, and a lot of that sorting that we do, we're looking for the origins of those companies and those countries that it's from. So I feel like, yeah, this is all coming together and like trying to create more accountability for that.
Exactly. And it ties into the other charter amendments that we've been talking about too, the right to food, which is about growing the ability to grow more food and the mechanisms to grow more food here that we can eat, which lessens the amount that we're importing and relying on plastic wrapped imports from elsewhere. So it really does tie together. And this is an individual opportunity. Like we talk about, it goes all ways. We need our producers to be taking responsibility. We need us to be taking responsibility. And civics is such an awesome individual entry point into making a difference. And by just submitting testimony on these charter amendments, you're taking part, you're participating in this civic action that can actually change the future for Hawaii, but also for the world.
I'm excited. Let's write some testimony.
Let's do it. And keep tuning in. We're going to keep sharing more about this. There's also longer versions of this on our YouTube channels that you can check out the actual process of submitting testimony, and we'll keep sharing. So,
yeah, mahalo.
Mahalo. Yes.
Bleepers.
Bleepers. Bleepers, creepers.